I'm Wilbert Turner III. I have seen the light, the glory, known as the Snyder Cut.
My name is Jake Steinberg, and I have seen the Snyder Cut.
Hated this movie. I hated this movie. I hated this movie. It really does. I hated this movie. I hated this movie. It stinks. Cool. Shout out to composer and songwriter Abram. They are amazing.
Yo, that was awesome.
That song gets better every time I hear it.
Yo, I loved hearing it live like that. That was cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Because normally I just put it in editing. But hello, everyone, and welcome to the Viewer Digression podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jake Steinberg, joined as always by Wil Turner.
Yo. What is happening, everybody? My God. Happy to have y'all here as listeners in 2021. Maybe you're a time traveler. Maybe you're from 2035, but I'm happy that you're here.
This is wild because we are doing, for people that don't know, maybe you're getting this podcast on your normal podcast service. But in case you're unaware, we're streaming this live. We're live and in color on the internet right now.
Yeah, baby. You know the vibes. You know what's going on.
This is wild. I can't believe we're doing this. I can't believe I set this up, you got on, and it all just worked.
Yeah, honestly, miracle of technology, because it really shouldn't be this easy. But
it shouldn't be this easy. Now, I want you to know that Molly Turner's in the chat. She says, hey.
Oh, let's go, Molly.
Molly Turner says, hey.
Oh, my gosh. Molly is the GOAT.
Yo.
She's amazing. Top #1 fan of the show. Thanks for pulling up, Molly.
Now, and I know Sarah will be joining us in the chat soon. So we're going to have some people in the chat ready to hear this pod. Now, Wil, the topic of the show is, of course, the culmination of what we've been doing for the past month. We've watched Man of Steel. We have watched Batman v Superman. We have watched the Justice League. And now we have each seen the Snyder Cut. And Sarah's popping off in the chat saying hello as well. Hello, Sarah. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Now, so, Wil, we've seen the Snyder Cut, but I don't want to rob the friends and fans of our usual podcast schedule here. So as we start every show, we got to settle in. We got to bring it down a little bit. Calm down.
Definitely, ease into it.
Wil, we like to start every podcast with, Wil, do you know my favorite way to start a podcast?
Bro, is it somehow related to my favorite candy when I was a kid, the Jolly Ranchers?
Oh,
man, that's what it seems like. Close. It might be. I'm not sure, but let us know.
So we like to start our podcast with a little thing called the Jolly Update. This is where we share something from the previous week since we saw you last time, something giving us jolly vibes. Wil, we haven't talked. I'm kind of hoping it's not just a new season of Attack on Titan, because I know you've been enjoying that. But
I thought about doing that for my Jolly Update. It almost was that, but I've been doing some other things as well. It easily could be season 3 or season 2 of Attack on Titan, but instead I'm gonna show it to the camera. It's probably reversed.
Ooh, cool. No, it looks great.
Nice. Yeah, it's Craft in the Real World. It's by a writer, Korean American man named Matthew Salesses, and it's an amazing deep dive into the ways in which the Western writing culture has decided how workshops and how also literature itself should be, discussed and taken apart. And Matthew he's looking at the way that Western culture talks about it, and he's like, this is actually how we should talk about it. There's some good elements to it. We should take those, but there's also elements that are not helping, fledgling writers. There's elements that are not helping audiences. There's elements that are not helping audiences and writers of color or LGBTQ plus writers and audiences as well. He's like, we need to broaden our horizons with this. And it's great. I'm loving it.
Wow. Okay.
I suggest everybody check it out for sure.
And an intellectual Jolly Update, if I've ever heard one,
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We're intellectuals on this side.
Yeah. No. On this side. Well, I do not have an intellectual Jolly Update for you.
Come on, man. The hot dogs is still the most intellectual update you've ever had.
Little Snyder Cut.
Or been on the show.
Snyder Cut preview. A little cameo appearance by some hot dogs. Yeah, but
Oh, true.
yeah,
Yes.
we'll get
Forgot about
we'll
that.
get to that. We'll get to that. My jolly update for this week is so this is crazy, but there is a video game, an Avengers video game that I've been playing for a long time since it came out in the fall. But today there's an update adding a new character to the game and a whole bunch of new missions, and it's pretty exciting. And the new character is Hawkeye, and so we get to play as Hawkeye now. And they had this event today where they were showing off like future content and stuff they're doing. We got a Black Panther reveal today, so Black Panther's next. And
Forever.
that's right. And I just wanted to share this because I thought it was crazy that a Justice League thing and Avengers thing like fell on the same day. And these were two
They
things.
did that on purpose.
Yo, it's so weird. It's crazy. So yeah, that's my jolly update. I'm looking forward to once I get off this pod, honestly, I'm sitting down, I'm playing that game, dude. Can't wait.
I can't blame you. That's awesome. Oh man.
But Wil, we are here today to discuss the topic of the show, Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's finally here. There was a moment last night where I said to myself, a part of me still doesn't believe it's real.
Honestly, I kind of have expected to wake up to people being like, it was all a hoax. There's no Snyder cut. I was like, God. But it's here.
It's here.
And it's 4 hours.
I told Sarah.
2 minutes long.
I told Sarah, I was like, I think 2 hours and 20 minutes into this movie, a black screen is going to come up and it's going to say, listen, if you've made it this far, you're one of us. Just lie. Just tell them there's 2 hours more of movie. Just no one will check. No. But no, I've seen all like 4 hours and like 3 minutes, whatever it is, and watched it this morning as did you. And Wil, I think the first thing I want to get out of the way is that I just want to state the obvious. And I think the obvious is there is no question this is better than the other Justice League.
Yeah, the Justice League is what a lot of people are calling. That movie is god awful, and this movie is pretty good.
Yo, this movie makes that movie look way worse than it was the first time, and it already looked bad, but now it looks insane.
I'm pretty sure you asked me last week. You were like, "Are you ever going to go back and rewatch like original Justice League?" And I was like, I might." Honestly, only time I'm going to go back and rewatch it now is just to dump on it, just to be like, you know what? What were they thinking that they put this out into theaters and we couldn't see the original?
I hear you. Like an archaeological study, dude. It's like we're gonna dig up these old bones of the Justice League and be like, what were they thinking? How did this happen? But so Wil, just general impression. What do you think of this movie? Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy the 4-hour ride?
Yeah, I mean, it's 4 hours, so you would think that I'd spend most of the time talking about like pacing issues or whatever, but I'm probably not going to talk too much about pacing. I thought the pacing was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was talking to you and Molly, I think it was yesterday, about, I'm more of a plot guy than a character guy, but the characters in this were great. The Flash in Justice League versus Zack Snyder's Justice League, 2 different characters. I don't know why they made those changes. I have no clue why they did that, but he's way better in the Snyder cut. Way, way better. And honestly, all of the characters are just more relatable and more fleshed out in the Snyder cut. Even Superman, who's not even in the movie that much.
No. Which was sad for me, honestly. But there's so much content. I'm like, oh my God, the fact that I'm not getting more like Superman content specifically. But what was there I really enjoyed. Wil, it's funny you bring this thing up of like it's very hard for us. We just watched Justice League. It is so hard to not compare and think about the decisions that are being made. Like from that movie to this, or from this movie to that one. And it's honestly something that really stuck out to me in this movie is even the scenes that were more or less the same, there were little changes that were better in this one. And
a lot of the dialogue was shifted in a lot of the instances. I was like, why did they change it when Joss took over? Because there was no reason to change it.
It is the weirdest thing. Like some changes are like huge and it's like, okay, he cut out entire plots. Makes sense. But some of the changes, it's like the first time that we really like spend a lot of time with Wonder Woman in this movie is same as before. It's kind of like that terrorist attack on the museum. Yeah. And the fight scene is better in this one than it is in the original the theatrical cut.
Yeah, and way better.
And it's like it's cut better. The work in the editing room is clearly superior, and I think it has the Snyder touch, which to me is it lets the camera linger a little bit longer, and you get to kind of see the action play out. And there were times where like it was kind of like Batman in the nightmare sequence in BVS, where she's kind of surrounded fighting like a few different people at once, and that just wasn't in the theatrical cut. And I just like, two people have access to the same footage, and I can't believe what we got the first time. It like really freaks me out almost, because this is all footage that was already there, like that they had access to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, what did they say? They only filmed one extra scene to release this movie. I don't know what scene that was, but
I think I know.
Okay.
I think it was the end. The very
okay. I can see that.
Yeah.
What was it? Sticking on the Wonder Woman scene.
Yeah.
We brought up how she throws the case into the sky. Even that's different. In the original, she's still in the museum and she just throws it up. Mm-hmm. In this one, she's like, no, I'm going to make sure that I jumped up into the air and then I throw it up, which, like, that's much more believable that this case, which is going to destroy 4 city blocks, is not going to kill anyone, because Wonder Woman is going the extra step to put herself in harm's way to save the people.
And even when it does explode, there's that moment of like questioning, like, oh man, was that enough? Was that okay? Yeah. There's tension there, because like Zack knows that we're like, whoa, 4 city blocks, that seems pretty far. That doesn't, I don't know. I don't think she threw that case far. Like the artist in question is aware that we are thinking that, and the movie plays off those expectations. Whereas before it was like, no, you don't, no. Like, it's gone. Shut up, you know? So it's really different. Really, that's a great example of a little tiny thing that changed. So just since we're on the topic, another little tiny thing, when we first meet Aquaman, and I remember telling you there's this weird.
That scene is way better.
Oh my God. It is first off, deciding, no. Bruce did not climb a mountain to get there. We dropped him off on the bat plane for no reason. Like, I literally can't tell you why they made that choice. It was like, no, bat plane. Like, it's cool. And that little tiny change to me completely changed the tone of the scene.
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like it made Aquaman respect Batman even when he was trying his hardest not to respect him, because he climbed the mountain. He was like, I'm going to come to you, but it's damn near impossible for me to get to you. I'm still going to get there. Yeah. Whereas before it's like, who's this rich boy? What is he doing here?
So it's really just, this movie is such like an interesting like study of something that we really never get access to in movies, like having this complete, like, it really feels like the original director's intent. I kind of want to rewind and start at the very beginning of the movie, but first, for sure. Just another like really general take is that, you know, we talked about BVS and we talked about how it was very character focused, kind of convoluted, hard to follow, which, you know, kind of purposefully so, but still that was the case. And I had been thinking about this movie in my head. I was like, wow, so this is going to be like the true sequel to BVS. And what I didn't realize was this is still a Zack Snyder who I think has been affected by the reception to BVS, because this movie is easy to follow. It like incredibly easy to follow. I was surprised how much of like the BVS bullshit that I personally enjoy was not in this movie.
It's not in there. Like, he was like, all right, I'm just gonna tell you. He's like, and if you don't get it, I'm gonna tell you again.
I'm gonna tell you again.
If you still don't get it, someone else is gonna tell you. Yeah, but you're gonna get it by the third time. It's like, okay.
It's like a weirdly tight movie. I was really surprised by that. It's this movie is fascinating. Did you happen to read the Roger Ebert review of this movie?
No, I didn't. I did a slight skim, but I didn't read the full thing because I was like, I don't want to.
Right. So something he I just read it before we went live, and something he points out that I think is so true, that, and I think this is the first time that Zack Snyder has ever really been allowed this, is that the scenes will like begin way earlier than you expect them to and end way after you think they would end. And I think that's true for like the whole movie. The way that this movie like will linger on things, and even in that Wonder Woman scene where she does the thing with the briefcase, we deal with the guys, we save everybody, then we go outside and we see the police, and then the movie comes back inside so that she can talk to that little girl, and that's a moment that I'm like, that gets cut. in any movie that gets cut,
That's a
but
fact.
not this one. Because
Not this one. And I love that moment. Oh God, I love that. You could be whatever you want to be to the little girl. Oh, that's great. Love that.
God, it was
Big
so
fan.
it was so
Big fan.
good. So yeah, so I guess before we really like jumped into our scene by scene discussion, I just wanted to say I'm like glad that this exists in a weird way.
Ecstatic.
Yeah, it's like a cool thing to have. Yeah, so I'm really into that. I also just think that after seeing after rewatching Justice League and watching this, I can't imagine. Like, I texted you this. I was like, I think Zack Snyder must feel like Joss Whedon made him look stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did. I mean,
He made him look
down to
stupid.
the fact we were watching the last Justice League or whatever, and you were like, why is this Russian family in here? This doesn't make any sense. And they're not in this movie.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, that didn't make sense. That was a Joss move. Good God.
So, Will, this movie starts off with the death of Superman. And we get this really crazy little aura of screams like going all over the planet. This is a death that like literally shakes the world. Yeah, and Zack Snyder is this kind of director that I think loves to make like metaphors real. And this is and this is like one of those moments where that scream is going everywhere, and we see it like kind of everybody being a little like, oh no. And Superman dies, and you said something to me during our Justice League discussion that really rang true for me here, where you were like, this movie, it needs to be a sequel. And I never really, and I think when you said that, I only kind of knew what you meant. And now seeing this movie, I'm like, oh my God, because this movie is a sequel.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I watched that opening scene. I was like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
This is what I need in my life. You know, everyone, and I don't think it's a bogus take to say I want that. You know, a lot of people want movies to stand on their own.
Mm-hmm.
I get that, but there are some movies where it's like you should still be able to tell your own contained story, but that story only works because of you're standing on the shoulders of stories that have come prior to that. And that's what I felt like Justice League should be. And this opening scene gave me that feeling. I was like, yes.
Wow.
Regardless of how you feel about BVS, like this is setting the tone. Superman is dead. It has changed everything. That is why that was the inciting incident. That's why we're starting here.
Yeah, and I think you were 100% right, because the way that it established the tone, it was way more present in my brain. Him like literally being killed right in front of Batman, you know?
Yeah.
And that like little kind of connection that they had between them, which is way more present in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think something else just in this opening sequence that I want to point to is the and I think maybe the thing I'm the most happy about with this whole movie is that the cinematography is back. It's
great too.
It's back, and it's like, oh, it really wasn't there in Justice League. And for to see this movie like through a completely new lens, even scenes that we had seen before, I don't know where this footage came from, because it's from different angles, it's cut differently. There's this shot of like when Batman is shaving later in the movie, and we're shooting into the mirror in a way that we never saw that angle before. How did they get that shot? Where'd that come from? Where did that come from? I like, oh my God.
Nah, the producers definitely saw that angle. They were like, what was the point of this? Why is this in here? They didn't do this in the Avengers. Why would we do it here?
Yeah. And even just, it's crazy because after Superman dies, our first like scene is we're there with Aquaman.
Yeah.
And we're at the Ice Mountain. But before we talk about that, we've got a question in the chat.
Nice.
Yeah, please, if you're in chat, if you're hanging out with us, submit questions whenever you want, and we will get to them. So we're talking about the Snyder Cut, and I've got a question here from SJL1618. What is the significance of Wonder Woman being on the big statue of Lady Justice, sword side, and then Bruce being on that weird statue of the Ghoul/Death? Two similar striking moments. Ooh, I love this question. So
that's a great question.
Yeah, and I think it comes back to kind of something I mentioned earlier, where Zack Snyder loves to let metaphors kind of like live in a real way, like exist in real life. And there's a little bit of like this theme in this movie of you've got to be the thing that you're supposed to be. And I think Wonder Woman's kind of trying to do that. Batman's trying to do that. Cyborg's figuring out how to do that. The Flash is they're all kind of like figuring out, how do I be the thing? Oh, Aquaman's definitely doing that.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think them being placed with those little kind of like iconic images is just like a little bit of like you know what I mean? It's the kind of like thematic. Yeah, what am I sure? It's like there's an iconic thing happening there. Yeah.
You're placing living icons onto our symbolic icons.
Yes.
I mean, especially because, Lady Justice is a weird thing because Justice is blind and whatnot, which is interesting. And so that's kind of like, Wonder Woman is like, even if you watch like Wonder Woman 1984, which obviously came out, after this movie was created or at least envisioned, but like her whole thing is like, I'm going to knock out the cameras and blind the world to seeing me. Like,
right.
I'm not going to be the person who's like the inspiring person for the whole world. I'm just going to do the things that I want, but I have blind spots. And that's like Diana's weakness. I mean, the whole thing with like the ghoul and death for Batman is he's the master of death in this film. The only reason Superman gets brought back is because Batman's pushing so hard for it.
Wow.
If Batman, like, Flash is like, all right, if you want to do it, we'll do it. And Cyborg's like, I mean, shoot, whatever y'all want to do, we'll do. And then Diana and Aquaman are both like, no, we're not doing this. Batman is the deciding vote.
Yeah.
He's the reason that Superman gets brought back. And he's also like, if he doesn't bring everyone together, also the whole world dies. So he is the master of death in this film. So
yeah.
I think that's what they were going for.
Wow.
Which is what you were saying though, is like, Zack, if you're not gonna get it from just being in the story, he's gonna put the icons on the icons so you really get it.
Wow, I love that, Will, because you're right. He's thinking about death the whole time. He's even to the end where he's like, I'm probably gonna die here, but it is what it is. Wow. Yeah, that's great. Wow. Okay, I think that was a great answer.
What's your name, person who asked this question?
Oh, that's Sarah. That's Sarah Jane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice,
that's Sarah.
Nice. Okay. That was a great question.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sarah.
Please, anybody in chat, if you ever want to ask a Jake and Will a question, the Snyder Cut experts, please. So we've got our first scene with Aquaman. We spend like a really long time showing. We've got Bruce with this horse. We've got him like he climbed over this mountain. He got to this village. We talked a little bit about this privately, Will, but I feel like we kind of had this little conversation about how in BVS it's kind of a movie more about moments than it is about scenes. And something that I think this movie was allowed with its extended runtime was that you really got to take in people and places happening around the main characters. And I think this like little area where Aquaman's hanging out, we got way more of a feel for it, what's going on there, the people there, than we did in the last movie.
Those people singing at the end of the scene, like it sounds like a funeral song.
Yeah.
That is glorious. That would get cut in any other movie because they'd be like, why are we doing this? But as soon as it came on, I was like, all right, great. This is going to be a great transition into the next scene. And it was, but he let it play for way longer than anyone else would ever let it go. And I like that.
The whole thing, dude, grabbing Aquaman's sweater, like being like, oh, dude, he's like a god to us. I was like, I'm eating this up. It was really, really cool. I agree. And it it's funny. It completely gives a moment to an actress that just wasn't in the movie before.
Literally, like, I don't even know if she has a single moment of screen time in the original Justice League. Probably not. And
the amount of times that's going to happen in this movie, though, we're not through.
That's true.
But
true.
Will, you agree with me though that the that Aquaman scene is far superior than it was in the first.
It's way improved because you don't have this weird thing of like, oh, I'm a guy in the back of the room who's going to cough and reveal the mother boxes and whatnot. Because you already know what the mother boxes are because Superman's scream awoken them. Which it's odd because this is like twice as long, but this movie's way more efficient and actually more effective at telling us and doing exposition.
Can you believe we skip the Batman encounter with the parademon and the whole stupid noise thing, which can you believe
so dumb.
Somebody made that up and was like, this is a great idea. This is
actually going to save the movie.
No, I blown away that is, it's, oh man. Yeah. So we didn't need that at all. Yeah. I really like how Aquaman is like treated by the people there. I also really enjoy, Bruce, I feel like, is so much more Batman in this movie, and one of the moments is when he like has a gotcha with Aquaman where he starts speaking the language.
Yeah, when he started speaking Icelandic, I was like, why did they take that out? That was brilliant.
And that's like such a people-pleasing moment. Again, yeah, no, I'm completely with you. I'm like, I have no idea why this wasn't in the original movie. It's a very like cool moment for Batman. As is like climbing the mountain to get there. They're like, yo, there's no choppers. How'd he get here? He said he climbed it.
I mean, that's one of those scenes where they should have just kept it the same. Like there were things obviously that the studio was like, Joss, we need you to change, cut this down, blah, 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 whatever. They could have kept that scene exactly the same, and it would have been better than what they came up with. And the original Justice League would have been better for it. So I don't know why they, clearly they're on something.
I remember complaining about how there was this weird thing where we saw Bruce in Gotham. He didn't have a beard. He got on the Batplane, had a beard with Aquaman, and then was shaving it. And now in this movie, it goes, hey, so he had the beard because he spent a really long time climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
And in the old movie, there was no explanation. Stupid.
Yeah, gosh. Jeez.
Damn. So the next place we go is, in my notes, I wrote, so we're doubling down on Alfred jokes.
I will say the Alfred jokes, I liked them.
No, they were coming through.
They were funnier this time.
Yeah, no, Alfred was coming through with the hits in this movie. I completely agree.
Alfred. I mean, but also I think our main plate by the end of it was make him a character.
Yeah,
and that's what they did in this. Yeah, and he wasn't much of a character in the last one. So.
No, yeah, I mean, and that goes for a lot of people. So the next thing we get is, so we had our little like music montage in the original cut of this movie, which now we see a lot of that is taken from these kind of like Lois Lane scenes. And and we get this scene of Lois. We see that she's wearing the ring, the trauma ring, as I called it before. And it's funny. I'm watching this movie with Sarah, and she like looks at me and she goes, "I'm tearing up." Because her going to the memorial every day.
Nah, that hit me hard though. I'm not gonna hold you.
Yeah,
that's something that's like, this is cornball. It shouldn't work. But I was like, damn,
You know why I think it works? She plays it straight. She's not there like moping and groaning. She's not like teary eyed. She like smiles to the police officers, like, oh hey, here's your coffee. I'm here every day, and we're all like, ugh. And
the police officer's name is Jerry. I mean, it's tough for me to hate a guy named Jerry. Right. It's a sweet name.
So, oh God, I really enjoy this. Focusing on like a great way to feel the presence of Superman being gone, I think, is to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it keeps that thought in our heads. And it like, I think it does a lot of work in us wanting Superman to come back for a reason that isn't like save the world.
Yeah. Or punch Steppenwolf in the face.
Right.
It works really well. People, and perhaps rightfully so, have said that Superman is a bit whiny in this trilogy.
Yeah.
But now he's not the whiny one. Everyone else is whiny about his death.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that kind of works too.
Yeah.
And this sequence, I can't remember what song they were playing, but that song is amazing.
Agreed.
My goodness.
A lot of new songs in this score, like more than I expected. The next scene is actually our Wonder Woman scene, and I wanted to bring up Wonder Woman gets like a whole new theme in this movie.
Yeah, she's got this ancient wailing theme, which I didn't like the first time. Like, I didn't hate it. I didn't like, but it grew on me.
No, I was exactly the same. Well, we were in that museum. That song came on, and I went, "What happened to the old theme?" And then the old theme kicked in when the fight started, and I was like, "Okay, we're fine."
Yeah.
And then every other time that new one, the kind of like ancient tribal wailing thing kicked, I was like, "Okay, no, this is vibes," because this movie has like history vibes.
Yeah, for sure, big time. Yeah, they're definitely like, remember the past.
Yeah.
And do better this time.
Do you remember, to start this museum scene, there is a shot of looking through a sniper's lens at the terrorist, and he like looks right at him, and he's like, yeah, what? Do it.
Should I take them? No, they've got kids. They've got kids in there.
Yeah.
Just had a school trip today.
Oh, man.
Oh, gosh.
How shocked were you when Wonder Woman killed that guy?
I was a little shocked because I feel like she probably smoked him in the last one, but they didn't focus on that at all. In this one, like, she does a little clang thing with her bracelets, and you just all that's left of him is his hat. And I was like, oh. But even at the beginning of this scene, it's a little darker.
Yeah.
Because in the original Justice League, the guy comes out, he sneaks past the security guard, he shoots him from behind, and that's it. In this version, you see that security guard sprawled out on the ground, and they drag him away, and you see his bloodstained. I was this is you've amped it up a bit, Zach.
Zach loves his blood stain on the wall. There's one point where she like just throws somebody against the wall, and you literally just see from the head the blood splat. I'm a psycho though, because I saw that and I was just like, controversy.
No, I mean I like it. I mean, if you're gonna be, it's a brutal world, so give me the brutality.
You're right, and it's one of these things that I always watch these movies and I'm like, okay, this is something I can see people complaining about, but I have to ask myself, does it really bother me when I'm watching the movie? This is a terrorist trying to kill children. Like, okay, so she pushed him against the wall a little bit too hard. It's like, oh, but it's not heroic. I'm like, yeah, but am I bothered? Am I really bothered? And I think the answer is just no. But the
only people who are bothered are people who are like, I'm afraid my kid is a psychopath, and that watching this movie will unleash their insanity. And it's like, well, there's other stuff in the world besides this movie that are going to do that. So,
and I also just feel like we've learned, and maybe I've been like taught not to care because after watching Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, you know what I mean? It's one of these things where I'm like, we're not like, she's not like a ruthless monster just killing people.
True. Yeah.
That to me is like, okay, acceptable loss. Plus, is he even definitely dead? I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, she didn't kill the one guy who she, asked the questions to. Also, that was a nice change. I like the dialogue. I don't know why they changed that dialogue either. She's like, what's going on? He's like, we're going to take it back 1,000 years for Europe. She's like, boring. Whatever. Way better than whatever Joss came up with.
Yeah.
My God.
I know I'm 100% with you. The dialogue changes between these two films are the craziest thing in the world. There's never a point in this movie where I'm like, this dialogue is causing me pain. And in the last one, it was constant. And now watching it, knowing it's all reshoots, since we're talking about it, a crazy thing I noticed in this movie is that, and I didn't know that I would notice this until it happened. All of the characters seem more together because of the way it's filmed, and I think it's because when you do reshoots, sometimes you can't get everybody in the same room at once, so you have to edit it and make it look like they're together. But this movie, you could tell that they were actually together, and the way that the camera would just linger and look at everyone, and I felt the space and the presence and everybody kind of like the energy of being together, which I think is so important for this movie specifically.
That's a great point. There's a great moment when Aquaman is talking to the Flash about, Cyborg because his father just died.
Yes.
And, Aquaman actually kind of opens up and Flash is like, wow, I'm really surprised. But the whole time that conversation is happening, Batman and Wonder Woman are in the background and they're watching it.
Great.
And you can tell that they're watching it. And it's just like, that wasn't a thing that existed before.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Good call. Our next scene, I think we go to the Themyscira, the Themyscira battle.
Oh yeah, improved. That was already a solid battle, but it's improved.
Hey, did you notice the thing about the what are our little bug guys' names?
Oh, the parademons.
The parademons. That the whole thing about transforming people into parademons is just not in this movie.
Yeah, they just deleted it.
And can you believe that we're sitting here going, how come it never happened? And then turns out the reason it never happened was because somebody just made it up.
Yeah. Someone on Josh's team was like, this might be a cool little Easter egg. It's like, this doesn't matter for the movie.
Right.
God.
So we go to Themyscira, and I think the things that really jump out to me here are kind of what we've been saying. The scene goes on longer, so we just get to hang out with these people. Like the roles that people have in this movie that they didn't have before, it's completely changed. And I really enjoy that when they're trying to stop Steppenwolf, something that was changed was that they demolish that whole place and they send it
which was glorious.
It was so much cooler. Like there was a loss of life, like a huge loss of life. Oh man,
they put it all on the line.
Yeah,
it still wasn't enough. But I also felt like the queen of the Amazons, I think her name is Hippolyta, cared way more about her like comrades in this. She was like, there was like moments where she was like, all right, I have to save the box, but like I don't want my people to get killed. I just made me feel for them a lot more.
And they cared about her. There's that part where she's like running out of the arena, and in the old movie they're just trying to close in Steppenwolf. But in this one, there's like a whole like she gets kind of held up and has to go back, and then the two women have to hold that thing because she hadn't gotten through yet. And I can't believe there was context to that moment. I thought that was just there.
She was just I was like, all right, she guess she used to be a little bit quicker when she was young.
Right. It was like, oh, we did it too soon. You know, but in this one, no, there was a whole we also get our first look at Steppenwolf. Who's different.
He looks way better in this movie. I don't know why they took away his armor.
Let me ask you this, though. How is it possible that he looks this much better? Because even in his face, like his normal face, he is emoting more. He like far more. Like he has a personality that he didn't have in the old movie. Like what's going on here?
People from WB need to be fired because I'm pretty sure I remember hearing that like executives or someone was complaining that Steppenwolf looked bad in the original, in what would have been this cut.
Yeah.
And they were like, he doesn't look realistic. We need to change him. Why? I don't get it. Why did you change it from this?
Dude, the razor armor
horrible in the last movie.
Oh, it's so cool. The way that it moves and like reacts to what he's doing and how it's in line with the other alien technology that we see in this movie. So cool.
It looks absolutely awesome.
Also, Steppenwolf has a line in this scene that to me, I was like, you did it. You made him a character. And the line was when he literally like yells, he will be pleased. He will see my worth. I'm like, whoa, dude.
As soon as he said that, I was like, thank God we've gotten rid of all the nonsense about, mother, I've been looking for you. That made no sense in the last movie.
Yeah.
There's no context to it. These are boxes. They're not actually, they didn't birth you, Steppenwolf. Why are you calling them mother?
Oh, dude, we complained so much about the boxes in the last one. I'm like, so it's just like a weapon. And in this one, they literally bend over backwards to be like, let's like talk about these boxes, man. Like we're going to, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. So he will be pleased. He will see my worth. We get a Steppenwolf in this movie who is like, his whole thing is trying to get into the good graces of a character that wasn't in the original movie, Darkseid.
Yeah, I don't understand how they thought they could make the movie without Darkseid at least being referenced. Somehow they managed to do it, but it didn't work.
And no, you're right. And it was filled in with all this random mother stuff that made no sense. Darkseid, I think, looks cool.
Oh yeah, Darkseid is dope. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the fact that he got smoked by a random human with an axe.
That was crazy. Wait, was that not Ares? I was under the impression that was Ares.
Okay, no, that might have been Ares. Okay, I'll accept it. I was like, part of me was like, this has to be some god who I'm not picking up on who it is.
I was tracking it. I was tracking it the whole time because they literally were like Zeus and his son Ares, and they showed the guy with the axe, and I was like, okay, gotcha.
Okay, I can. All right, my issue with that, my qualm is gone.
No, I was surprised too though, because in that scene, I was like, to see Darkseid get beat ever is a little surprising.
True. No, that's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
So I kind of hear you on that. So after the Themyscira scene, he gets his first box, and this is in a 4-hour movie. I can't believe Steppenwolf got that box that quick. I was shocked. I was like, what's gonna happen in this?
I swore they were gonna add something on. I was like, nah, the Amazons have like another area that they're gonna have to do some defense, but not so. No. It worked fine though. I was like, okay, cool. It took way longer to get the Atlantean box, which I was a bit surprised.
Way longer. Oh, Will, I forgot to ask you. The ratio, the image ratio of the movie. What'd you think about this?
I liked it. I thought it worked pretty good. I wonder, do you know if they did the same like color grading improvement that they're doing for BVS?
I believe they did.
It seems like it. I'm not like a film colorist or whatever, but if I were, I'd be losing my pants over this.
Yeah. It's something I really enjoyed about it is, so I think with this movie, which is like an experiment and a risk and something weird that we'll like never probably get anything like again. I'm glad it has this unique visual look to it. Like it's immediately, you're watching something weird and different. So I like it for that reason, but there are also so many moments in this movie where I'm just drawn to, we see so far above characters' heads sometimes. I'm like thinking about their heights in a weird way. There's a really cool shot where much later in the movie where Steppenwolf's going into a Star Labs base and he has to like go under this thing. And I thought it was I was like, damn, I love like this full shot. It's so cool.
That's going to work really well because I remember when BVS came out and my buddy Trey was like, bro, they casted Ben Affleck to go against Henry Cavill because Affleck is taller than him. He's like, Henry Cavill's, I'm making their heights up. They're both over 6 feet tall. But like, let's say Henry Cavill's like 6'3". Ben Affleck's like 6'5". And, so Batman is even more physically intimidating than Superman. And he's the aggressor in the whole movie. So it just makes sense. I was like, 2016, I was like, you're onto something. But then it didn't make as much, like it didn't really come up that much except in the one scene. But I think with this aspect ratio, it will. But switching back to Justice League.
Yeah. So the next scene that we get is, so we've done Themyscira, and we get, now this is Bruce and Alfred having their kind of like reconvene moment. And this blew me away because I remember telling you during Justice League that it wasn't an hour into the movie that we mentioned that Bruce felt guilty about Superman's death. Right. And here it's almost immediately that he says to Alfred, I made a promise to him on his grave.
On his grave.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time trying to divide us. I need to bring us together. I need to make this right. Yeah. And this is all I need. Our biggest criticism of Justice League was that it wasn't about anything. And this movie says this is what this movie's about. And it's literally about like coming together in a way that even the villains are doing it. And even like the main MacGuffin of the movie, the boxes are
coming together.
They're coming together. Yeah. Right. And there's a little like underlying theme in this movie that like togetherness is what wins. Yeah. And like does Steppenwolf lose because he's not like with Darkseid? Probably.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if Steppenwolf had any help besides the parademons, he probably wins.
Yeah. Yeah. So really that's like the biggest thing I got out of that scene.
I like the changes they made there with the dialogue. Yeah. There were less like Diana and Bruce need to get together jokes, which I enjoyed them well enough, but
it's still in the movie.
It's still in it. I love the little hand caress thing on
amazing.
I know you love that. That's the type of stuff you go for.
Well, I've literally been asking for that, for months. I'm like, I just want them to get like hype about kissing. You know what I mean? And that's like their hands touched, and they're like, whoa. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was so good. I love that. Next scene is we explain the arrow.
I like it that was in there. I didn't question it too much in Justice League, but I was kind of like, you could just shoot arrows across the world, no problem.
I questioned it. I literally said to Sarah while we were watching the movie, I was like, we're gonna explain the arrow? And they did. And this is what I was saying earlier about this being like a weirdly tight movie, because this is something that if it wasn't explained, I don't think I would have thought like it needed to be, but I'm glad that it was. So they don't even like, they don't say it like over and over again, like, oh, this is like a special magic arrow. They just get it out of a cool case. They get a special
arrow
bow.
Of Artemis.
Yeah, and they're like, here we go. This is gonna be cool. And she shoots it across. Diana sees the whole thing in a much longer scene. And I have a comment from Sarah here about this scene that I want to read. She says, I was really glad when Wonder Woman went and found the arrow that it was just plain hieroglyphics on the wall and they didn't try and make like a magic story come to life in front of her kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought they were going to do that.
Me too.
No lie.
Me too.
But I would agree. I'm glad that it was just like, no, you get it. You're looking at it, you see Darkseid. If you don't get it, it's fine. Darkseid will pop up later on. You'll be like, there goes that guy.
she gets it. Diana gets it. And she, exactly. We even make a point in this movie of saying that she's 5,000 years old. So she has information. And that information comes up later. Did you catch there's an Asian actor playing Ryan Choi in this movie. Do you know Ryan Choi, Will?
I was trying to think about who that character might be without looking it up, and I couldn't figure it out. But I was like, he has to be somebody.
Literally says Ryan Choi, and I'm like, Sarah, it's the Atom, dude.
Oh,
yeah.
That's why he's the head of nanotech.
Yes.
Oh, I'm hyped.
I'm hyped.
Cool.
Hyped.
Dope.
This is the first of like one of our weird little cameos that we get in this movie, pointing towards the future. Ryan Choi, the Atom. Dude, how does it feel to be Ryan Choi and to go to the original Justice League premiere, watch that movie, get to the credits, and go, okay.
I'm not in that movie at all. My God. Sheesh. They disrespected my boy. That's crazy. Hate to see it, but glad that he's getting his shine now.
Right.
My God.
We another thing we explained in this movie, another that I honestly forgot about, was we explain where Aquaman gets his stuff. Willem Dafoe.
There's a slight when I saw his name in the credits, I was like, is he playing Darkseid? And I just didn't know. And then he came on screen. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, what's up, Willem?
I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, this movie came out before Aquaman. And I was like, I almost didn't think he was a part of this yet. I like the fact that they knew this much. I actually was surprised. I was like, whoa, they actually had this much information ahead of themselves. Like weirdly, this movie makes more sense as a precursor to Aquaman than the one that came out did. How's that possible? That's like one of their only priorities.
Zach knows what's going on, man. Zach knows what's going on. Zach was a man with a plan, dude. Yeah. And Joss was a guy it was just a sleaze bag.
For real. Speaking of, we're gonna really attack that in a second. But so really cool line that I think we get in that Aquaman scene with Willem Dafoe is he says, "You can't turn your back on the world forever, Arthur, above or below." And I like that that's in there just because I think it needs to. I think that stuff, whenever it pops up, does the work it needs to do. It is we're laying some foundation to connect the different league members to each other. And I think that's important. I know it's a little like on the nose, but I don't think the movie needs something huge and grand and deeper than that.
Shoot, bro. I'm pretty sure I complained a whole lot in Wonder Woman 1984 about why aren't the Amazons helping Diana stop these nuclear, threats?
Right.
Because nukes get... And so in that spirit, I agree. You can't turn your back on the world above or below. If the whole world's going to get smoked, you better do something, bro.
Yeah. That's funny. I remember you saying that, actually. So now we get two huge scenes that were not in the movie before. I can't wait to talk to you about these. We get a big Steppenwolf scene, and we get a big Flash scene. So Steppenwolf, it's the scene that explains to him, or explains to the audience, that he owes Darkseid 50,000 worlds or whatever it is that he needs to conquer. And and now he's a character. And I think just to restate it, like the emoting, the like motivations, just like the way that this CGI creature is acting is a cut above what it was before.
It's way, way better. I mean, he's got... Before, it's like, why is he here? Like, he just want to conquer things? He could conquer Mars for all of that. Like, why does he have to be on Earth? And the fact that he's reporting to people, the fact that he has these communiques with Desaad, the character I like from the comics, it's all, it's great. It's necessary. Otherwise, like, what is he doing here other than just like, we need someone who's strong enough to challenge the Leaguers. That way they can bring back Superman. Now he's a character.
I agree. He went from one of the weakest parts of the original movie to one of the strongest parts of this movie.
Big time.
And that's quite a feat. But Will, what'd you think of that Flash scene?
You talking about when he saves Iris?
Oh yeah.
That joint is amazing. That's a great scene.
What?
I love his little nervous talking and whatnot that he does all beforehand. That's great. I love the fact... Honestly, I thought he was going to eat the hot dog when he grabs it from midair.
Right.
He always needs the snacks, but I like what they did with it even more, which is he feeds it to the dogs. Everything... Now it's time to talk about the Flash.
Okay, let's talk about the Flash.
They bodied my boy in Justice League.
Yeah.
Destroyed his character.
Yeah.
Love him in the Snyder cut, though. My goodness, he's way better. He's still funny. I think he's a bit funnier actually in this, without being as crass.
I agree.
His interactions with everyone way improved, and I think he just has more to do in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's kind of like he's a scaredy cat in the first one. And in this one, it's just kind of like, well, I'm inexperienced, but, I'll pull my weight. It needs to be done.
I completely agree. And I think something crazy about this version of The Flash is that we kind of got a little bit of these hints of he's like connected to this higher power. He is a little spiritual. He'll do like funny things with his hands and his body, and like the way that he like tries to focus his mind and body together specifically. It was in the old movie, but it wasn't really like touched on. And in this movie, the Flash is extremely powerful, and he kind of knows it. Yeah. And he like has rules for himself to like limit his own power.
Which I love.
Yeah. And when he saves Iris, when Iris gets in that car accident and he saves her, it is not like a feat of strength. It is not like Superman holding up the girders before they fall. It is almost one, an act of joy, and two, he is so overpowered that he doesn't really need to take like any of it seriously. He takes his time. He does a little bit. He's like, he is like connected.
Yeah. He's locked in a way that with his powers that a lot of people really aren't.
Yeah.
No one else really is except for maybe Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is maybe the only person in the movie who has as good control of her or better control of her powers than he does. Like when he like pokes the glass.
Oh, Wil, it was so cool. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen, Wil.
Oh gosh, that was amazing. That was glorious.
I told Sarah, I was like, I'm gonna have to watch this over and over again, but I'm legitimately like, people have to talk me out of this not being one of like the best superhero scenes ever. This is that's where I'm at with it.
How crazy people went for the Quicksilver scenes
right
in the X-Men movies.
Right.
This is better than that.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's and I also really like and I know some people won't like this, but for me it does all the work I need of Iris and Barry don't really talk to each other, and they're just like they're just making faces, and to me it is aggressively sweet.
Oh yeah, I mean they do the thing where it's like they do the end game eye lock a couple of times. Right, it's like you know what? I don't need anything other than that.
Oh. And I think the woman Kiersey Clemons, I think she like really sells it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
she does a lot with a little. So shout out to her.
Yeah.
And apparently she's gonna get brought back for the Flash movie, which also wouldn't have happened if the Snyder cut didn't come out.
For real. Oh
so.
God. Man, good thing she's coming back. Good. Yeah, that's she deserves it, dude. I'm glad that she's out here too. And I also want to say, not to be like weird about it, but it bugs me a little bit that two characters that were prominently cut from this movie, her and Cyborg, who Jesus Christ is he in this movie?
As I said, he should have been. I'm pretty sure I said it in the Justice League movie. I was like, he should almost be the main character of this. Him and Superman, because they're both being reborn. And thank God we get a lot more. But wow, did Joss destroy his character in Justice League?
The women and the people of color that have been cut out of the theatrical cut of this movie that are present here, it is like a completely different movie. I said like in that way. I said to Sarah that this movie reminded me a lot of Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. And I think like, we all kind of remember that like girl power moment in Endgame. Yeah.
And all of the main woman heroes come together. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think something similar was kind of replicated in the original Themyscira fight in this movie. Years before that came out. And it felt organic. It felt like specifically about those women, and I don't know, it was really cool, and I like felt
there's a way you do it where it's a force, and there's a way you do it where it hit, and I felt like it hit.
Yeah,
so that's good.
So I hope people get something out of that, because I felt weird about that being something that was cut out of the movie. Watching this one now,
I mean, we said it before, so probably say it again. I don't want to give Joss too much airtime, but he absolutely horrendous. I saw something that said that even Deborah Snyder, who's married to Zack, was complaining to the studio and like very vehemently, even before the Cyborg actor, was like that Joss was a problem.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't look into it too deeply. I probably should have, but the article is still up because it happened. But the amount of people that Joss Whedon screwed over or straight up assaulted is just insane.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad that he's no longer in the picture.
Yeah, me too. And this appropriately brings us to the next scene that we get in the movie is like Cyborg's big scene. And first big scene where he, just to cut ahead a little bit, he eventually redistributes the wealth, which I love.
Wow, I love that. That was a great moment.
Yeah.
He's like, you won the Gotham City Bank special customer prize, $100,000. I was like, sheesh, I need to win that.
Yeah. The degree to which it's funny, the Flash and Cyborg are both like way less powerful in the original movie than they are in this one. And this one, it's funny how this movie does things that makes some things in the movie all of a sudden I have clarity with them. Like Cyborg making Batman's thing that, like the Batman's machines that didn't work is directly explained in this movie, where like his dad is telling him like, no, these machines will simply bend to your will.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want.
And he kind of gives him the Superman dad talk where he's like, it's not going to be about what you can do.
Yeah.
It's going to be about holding yourself back and not doing everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's glorious. Love that.
The whole scene was really fantastic. One of my highlights of the movie for me. And I think I think the guy gave a killer performance.
Oh, gosh, he did amazing. And honestly, is the football scene in this, or is that later? This might be the best.
Yeah.
Regardless, it might be the best instance of football that, outside of like football movies, it might be the best instance of football put to screen.
Even with football movies, it's up there. It is
up there.
That single sequence of Zack Snyder being like, I'm going to apply my directorial eye in fight scenes to a play of football.
Yeah.
Amazing, dude. I remember like even Sarah reacted to it when he reaches out and actually scores. I remember just being like, why was that so satisfying? Like, what?
The crescendo.
Gosh. and that's really what it is that all of the action scenes in this movie, they have the ebb and flow of Snyder's fight scenes that I missed. They have moments where you're winning, where you're losing, where something is overcome, where they speed up, where they slow down. And that's the Snyder touch. That's like,
for sure.
Oh man. Plus it shows how dope he was before he got any powers. And I like that. He was a little nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Especially because also like he was tough, but he was also a good dude before he got the powers too, because he was changing grades for someone who lost their house. I was like, oh, all right, Victor Stone.
What a great little thing that they came up with. That and his mom defending it. What are you doing for these kids?
Right. Oh man, Zack Snyder making some cultural comments on the scam of universities.
And that one really hit for me because to me that was a very similar moment to, you're gonna think I'm crazy, when little kid Clark Kent is having the conversation with his dad, and little kid Clark Kent is like, should I have let those people die? And his dad is like, maybe. It was this weird situation where somebody's parent said the thing that like movies have taught me not to expect.
Right.
And I really loved that. I was like, oh, dude, the way that like all these characters have these like are really informed by who their parents were and their relationship with their parents is really cool. It's a really nice little connecting tissue there because they're all focused on it.
That.
Yeah.
Big time, for sure.
What else do we want to say about that Cyborg scene? He's just good, dude. He just looks good.
It's
flying.
It looks way better. How does the flying look better?
I don't know.
It did in the first one, but it does.
Him like trying to figure it out.
That was cool.
Dude, the way that they just I hate that I keep saying this. I'm so sorry to every listener that every 10 minutes I'm going, man, that old one was bad. But like it's so stupid. Like,
do you like his mask? His little mask that comes on?
Oh, yes, because it's used sparingly.
Yeah. Yeah. And it always makes sense. He's flying into glass, the mask comes on. That way he doesn't cut his face. He's going up into the atmosphere, the mask comes on. I think this might be only one other instance of that coming on. Perfect.
Dude, how about his extra arms?
was cool. Why did they take that out?
No clue. Literally no clue. They're like, guys, we don't have the action figure budget to give him extra arms. I'm like, okay. Like,
Crazy.
dude, loved his extra arms. He was, Cyborg was like so much more realized in this movie. He like,
Do you think Joss took it out just because
yes,
the actor was giving him issues?
Yes.
Or more likely he was a racist and giving the actor issues?
No, I think so. And the reason I think that is because even like much later in the movie when we're doing when we're like storming Steppenwolf's hideout, there's like these pure action shots that could have fit into the old version. And he literally, I was trying to remind myself, what did Cyborg even do during this scene before? And I don't
like he didn't do a damn thing.
Like, was he there? Like, I'm genuinely not sure if he was there or not.
Yeah.
So yes, I like in a weird way, I do feel like it was because there's no argument for it. It's legitimately just worse than what we got. So
Ray Fisher, that's his name.
Yeah, dude.
Ray Fisher. Yeah, I couldn't recall his name. I just looked it up. Ray Fisher.
No, he's the guy. Yeah. Okay, so my scene by scene notes start to end in a little bit here because I think it's a lot of we kind of get where we're going, but
for sure.
I say that the Flash scene is still good and the new music is sick. Oh, okay, this is when we go to Flash's house. Yeah, and it's a little longer. We like get there, we see him go there, and we see there's this really awesome wide shot where you don't even notice Bruce is sitting in the chair.
That's in there. That's in the other one.
Yeah.
Actually, that is in the original, but the lead up to it is a little bit better.
I think it looks better because
of the aspect ratio, probably.
Because there's so many screens and stuff that like catch your eye going up. When it's wide, he's like right in the middle of the screen.
That's true.
And so I
don't even. Yeah, I didn't even notice the screens in the last movie, although they were there, but I just didn't notice them. But I noticed them this time.
I obviously knew that Batman was going to be sitting in that chair, and I didn't see him. so it must have been better. It must have. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh man.
And there's new music underneath that whole scene, and I really like it. One of my favorite music moments of the movie. It's like techno,
Big fan of that.
What did you think of in the next scene? We introduce Darkseid's anti-life equation.
That's the thing where, because I'm a comic book fan, like I already knew like that's his whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm probably biased, but I was like, dope. Anything named anti-life, that's evil.
Right.
Yeah, that's good enough for Darkseid to be like, that's my whole thing. That's why I want to go back to Earth. Anti-life equation.
This is, I think, the first and maybe only thing in the movie that is not immediately easy to follow.
Oh, yeah, I would agree. You don't really know what's going on when they bring it on.
And I think a big reason for that is because it's a sequel tease.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%. They're just like, Darkseid's not going to be the main guy in this. He's the big bad behind the curtain. So we're just going to give you a little bit.
Exactly. We are explaining the boxes in this movie. I'm sure in the next sequel, if it were to exist, they would have a whole thing being like, okay, so the anti-life equation, and everybody would be fine.
What will it do? And how will it affect you? Will you survive, or will you be a parademon?
Will, in our last podcast about Justice League, you and I remember saying to you at one point, I wish they would just say, oh man, if Superman was here, it'd be so much easier. I literally am like, why don't they just say it? I remember in that podcast saying like, just say it. And in this movie, several times, the Flash will just be like, Superman though,
right? Could handle this in 0.2 seconds.
Yeah, and they do. They just
me.
So I felt vindicated by that. In this movie, the Flash says that Superman is his hero.
Which I don't know why they took that out either. Love the fact that they said that.
Yeah.
I like the whole grave robbing scene a lot better.
Me too.
I thought the whole thing where in the previous movie where it was like, you're a black guy, Cyborg, I don't know how to talk to you. I was like, what are you doing?
Oh, God.
Why is this in here? It's just so weird. They just changed all of that, which was great.
Mm-hmm. Did you, so I really enjoyed the explanation for how we are going to bring Superman back in this movie. Because in the last movie, they were like, okay, his cells are dormant, so we need a bunch of energy. And the way we'll get the energy to him is through the mother box.
Right.
And the Flash will charge. Yeah.
Yeah. Now this is a way better explanation because it's like the mother box can change the state, like the way matter interacts with the world. It can turn the smoke back into a house.
I remember that too.
I was like, oh God, that's way better. Because I didn't have that much of an issue with the original explanation until I saw this, and I was like, no, this makes way more sense. Why did they change this?
That energy turns the house into smoke thing, and then the mother box can turn it from smoke back into the house. That explanation, genius. Because nobody isn't going to remember that after seeing this movie. Right. And it immediately is just like, yeah, no, that is what the mother box does. It was so perfectly in line with what we were learning about the mother box in a way that was consistent. Whereas in the last movie, you and I were screaming at each other. What are the boxes?
What do they do? What's their point? What are they here for?
And it's just to destroy stuff, I guess. And no, in this movie, everything we learned about the mother boxes made sense, was continuous. Even the whole thing about like when Silas like burns the inside of it, even that was like built into the movie.
Really well done too.
So I appreciated this little how we're gonna do the Superman thing, how we're gonna bring him back. I thought it made more sense.
You know what's weird is you asked, we're gonna have to probably go back slightly to talk about the
please, I skipped some things.
But when they're bringing Superman back and he has a picture of Pa Kent and falls into the water, and you asked me in the last movie, why is that in there? And I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Now it's in there because this is a movie, once again, about parents.
Yep.
Everybody's father is so important. Yep. And of course, at the end, you get both fathers talking to Kal-El. Why? Oh, gosh.
No,
it doesn't make sense that they shifted the narrative for that scene to make no sense, because in this movie, it works great. It's like, yes, I remember his father. It's like, I remember Silas's father. It's like, I remember Barry's father. It's like, I remember Diana's mother.
Yeah. And we see Zeus in that flashback.
Exactly. Yeah. So, gosh.
Dude, but the crazy thing is, in the theatrical cut, why didn't they just cut the photo going into the water?
They should have just got rid of it.
Like, is Joss Whedon so stupid that like he legitimately thinks that moment is in there just because it like looks cool?
Probably. He was like, if I'm gonna keep a shot from Zack, fucking might as well keep this one. It's the only one I thought worked. It's like,
So we did kind of skip over it a little bit, but there are a couple scenes. We have the scene between Lois and Martha, which we find out is not Martha.
Yeah, that threw me for a loop.
Okay, I've got kind of like a weird take about this scene. So before this movie came out, I saw a lot of tweets, a lot of people in the know saying one of the coolest things, one of the biggest things, one of the most awesome things to look forward to in this movie is a scene between Martha and Lois. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I wonder what that's going to be about. And I really liked the scene. And then the transformation happened. And I don't know if I like it. And let me just say this. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the scene between Martha and Lois. I don't want the thing that's cool about the scene to be, oh my God, the Martian Manhunter is here. He is a character that we know, and it's cool to see him on screen. Because I don't want the spoiler to be cooler than like the message.
Because the message was pretty damn good. And that's the thing that Martha would say. I don't know that I feel like we could have got the Martian Manhunter in there at another spot.
I agree.
To be quite honest with you. It didn't have to be that one. Mm-hmm. I mean, why would he make that his play? Because yes, plot-wise, that is what brings Lois to the monument in enough time to talk to Clark and whatnot. So fine, but thematically, like, how would he know that she would get there in enough time in order to do that? He wouldn't. It's just pure luck and coincidence that it works out that way. Yeah. In fact, Batman having brought her, this is maybe the one thing from the Whedon cut that I liked, is Batman having her as his backup. Right. That kind of makes a little bit more sense than her just showing up on her own.
Yeah, it was a good idea. I know what you mean. I think what they're going for is that Martian Manhunter is just like watching everybody, and I think he genuinely just went to comfort her. He saw that she was in need of comfort and tried to give that. Martha Martian Manhunter as Martha has like a really salient like line that just like hit home for me, where he says you're burdened by a secret on top of grief. And I was like, wow, what an incredible like death of Superman idea for Lois Lane that I've never heard before. I like that really worked for me. I thought that was iconic. I actually enjoyed the fact that we set up Lois always going to that monument and that she got there on her own. I understand what you mean about like it's a point for Batman being like smart to think to do that. But I think there was something kind of cool to me about like, okay, this is Lois's.
She just shows up on her own.
Yeah, and it's her last time going there.
I do like that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie about that. I was just annoyed that it felt like to me the Martian Manhunter was pushing it. But if I can just get in my head straight that it was more so he just went to comfort her and she was just doing it on her own, I'm actually more comfortable with that.
You know, so we actually kind of skipped over our first kind of like big fight confrontation with Steppenwolf, which is like under Gotham
Harbor.
That whole thing I think is just objectively, obviously, like everything else we're saying, it's superior. I think it's better because it's got like a little more Snydery attention to the action. But
we
also,
got rid of the Joss Whedon boob joke, which is dumb.
Thank God. But also every character plays a role in the fight in a way that like I struggle to remember what everyone was doing before.
Before it was, all right, Flash, you're too afraid to fight anyone, so you're just going to carry people.
Yeah.
Cyborg, you're going to do the same for no real reason other than the fact that your father's with these group of people. Batman, you're just going to punch people. And Wonder Woman, you're going to be the focus. Wonder Woman is still mostly the focus, which makes sense. She's the most powerful, and she still does a bunch of cool stuff. But now, like, Flash has a really cool sequence where he's grabbing rocks out of the air. They're about to kill people, which is like, that's great. And then he can't grab the last one because it's too big and he doesn't notice it. And then Cyborg does it. He's also not a coward in this version of things, which I thought was great. He's just like, I think he has a line in there. He's like, well, you know, Superman would be great to have against these guys because I probably can't handle Steppenwolf, but I'm going to still put in some work. And he does.
And I think this is the first time we see Cyborg's like other arm come out too, and like tries to attack Steppenwolf or something. And I just feel like there's more going on with every single character in this fight. And there's also this weird thing happening where I remember in the original cut, like Cyborg would like fly away and go somewhere, and we would just have no idea. And in this movie, every time someone goes somewhere, anytime somebody comes or shows up, there is a reason for it. He knows where the box is. He's going to go bury the box. That's how he knew where to go get it at the end of this scene. Whereas before, he just showed up with the box and we're like, oh, I guess he had it.
Yeah, that's a great point because I was also like, because we get the scene of him burying it in his own grave. At first, I was like, I don't know. This obviously got cut. I was like, I can see why they cut it. But then when he brings back, I was like, that's where he got it from. Now I know why that was in there.
Weirdest thing. Even man, the box game is so different in this movie because even later, after we revive Superman, seeing it come down, hit the car, Silas take it in. There's like it's a whole sequence that we were just like, no, he went and he got it. He got the box. And dude, can you believe they killed Cyborg's father in this movie and then cut it out? And like,
that's insane.
So the actor Cyborg is acting scenes as if his dad is dead, but to the audience,
he's alive and well, just chilling in Metropolis or Gotham somewhere.
No, dude. Boo.
That actor went to go see the movie. He's like, oh, shoot, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Guess I can still get paid in a couple more movies.
Oh, God. Maybe the sequel, baby. Dude, speaking of the boxes were afraid of Superman.
That was like the sliver of that was in the theatrical cut. The sliver. And it didn't make sense.
No.
But in this movie, it makes so much sense. And I like that.
Because the boxes were always just hanging out there. And it wasn't until Superman died that they were like, yo, let's go. And it totally justifies like, oh no, Superman can stop this because the boxes know that he can. I loved that. I was like, oh shit, like that would totally give him the push to be like, I'm right in this scenario. And even with that push, when he goes to bring back Superman and everybody, like literally everyone is like, wait a second. And Batman's like, Do it
now.
Dude, that was intense as hell.
What do you think about that flash forward premonition that Cyborg gets of like everyone being dead, like Diana's dead and all the world is falling apart to the point? I love this sequence, by the way, but to the point where he's like, no, don't do it. But then Barry's like, oh, go? Heard you.
Dude, that was a great moment. The tension in that scene was so much higher than it was in the original one. And I think that's what it needed. I think it needed a little bit of like I don't know. It was like they wanted you to be a little unsure about if this was the right move or not.
Yeah. And the originally you watch it, it's like, shut up, Aquaman. We're gonna bring back Superman. It's all gonna be great. In this one, it was kind of like, oh snap! And the fact that even the ship is like, this is an irreversible course of action. Yeah. I advise against it. Please do not do this.
Oh yeah,
I advise against this. That wasn't in there before.
Nope.
The ship is really. I think Cyborg had said he's like, oh, the ship doesn't want me to do this, but this time it's like the ship is begging them, like, please don't do this. Apocalyptic technology is unstable.
Yeah,
you will destroy. The future. You're gonna mess it up. It's
so
cool. It's the stakes across this film are much higher. Much higher. The tension, much higher. Even when Superman comes back, the fight that he has against the League is way longer, way better. And he really almost smokes Batman.
Dude. Okay. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that fight scene. Because it was definitely way better. It just like looked better all around. I felt like the characters were all way more together than they were before. Really the Flash had way more to do. But definitely. That moment you're talking about, it's so weird. We have this little thing happening with the gauntlets in this movie. Mm-hmm. And it's really not there for any huge machinations. It's just there for like kind of these moments where it's like, okay, Batman has got a couple of these gauntlets that can absorb some heat. So they're going to come up later. Like we hear it with Alfred and Diana earlier, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Which was cut from the original movie. Right. Then he's using them in the harbor scene. He's like, my gauntlets, they work. Which is what Alfred says.
Right.
But this is a similar thing. You watch BVS, you see Batman's the Batmobile. It's a tank. It's tearing through everything. Runs into Superman, destroyed in an instant.
Right.
The gauntlets, they work really well against the lasers and against Steppenwolf. Superman pulls up a couple blasts of heat vision, and they are toast.
Well, that's a great point because we're already setting up that Superman is a cut above what we're dealing with. That's a really great point. And it's funny because he uses the one gauntlet and he throws it off. And then Superman's like, all right, beam number 2. And I was not expecting a second gauntlet block. And I so when that beam went off, I was like, how? And
did he just kill him?
Yeah. Did it surprise you too because the way it was shot, it's like there's a flare, so you can't quite see it first if it's the gauntlet. Yeah. Oh, dude, that was intense.
Yeah, that was way better than Do You Bleed version 2.
Oh, jeez, so weird, dude. So
definitely
weird.
Bleeding.
All that stuff, dude. The stuff about like Batman being hurt just like isn't even in this movie. That was all Joss like just being like for no reason.
He's getting old.
So strange. When Clark finally does get better and he goes off to the field with Lois, he says this thing that I really like where he goes, "Oh, she loved it here, so did I." And
she's like, you talked. Did I not before? Yeah. Which was crazy because Josh changed that to, you smell good. Did I not before?
Yeah.
Took all of the weight out of this.
Really weird.
My gosh.
So now Superman's kind of getting his shit together. He gets his black suit. He visits Alfred.
That. Hold on. The scene when he's just walking through the ship.
Oh,
and Jor-El and Pa Kent are just all of their quotes just boom, boom, boom. You were sent here for a reason, and you have to. If it takes you your whole life, you owe it to yourself to figure it out. And then your mother and I loved you from Jor-El, and we sent you away. And then your mother and I love you.
Yes,
Pa Kent. I was like, this. Zach, you know what you're doing, man.
Zach knows what he is doing. He knows what he's doing because I think what I saw in the original cut was he had this bright blue and red suit, and that kind of to me symbolized him finally getting like, oh, I've got a second chance. I'm going to like make the best of it, which I think is exactly what he says in this movie. And in this movie, that sequence listen, we don't need a dumb blue and red suit to do the talking. It is like, this is Superman. There,
Right.
boom. And man, looking back, that's going to be like one of the best scenes for him, like across all these movies.
Honestly, I mean, that's a scene that's so great and iconic that probably like 20 or 30 years from now, he's gonna, when they're doing Superman, All-Star Superman movie or whatever, and they need, old man Superman, they're gonna probably use Henry Cavill and they're gonna use like a black suit.
Yeah. Black suit looks good.
It looks great. Looks better than the red and blue one did in the theatrical.
Were you surprised when at the very end of the movie he's Clark Kent and he opens his shirt that it was still
black?
Yeah.
I was surprised. But it felt like a choice.
Me too. I agree. It did feel like a choice. Yeah, I think it's so interesting to me because obviously the black suit, the recovery suit, famous for being worn after the death of Superman in the comics. That aside, it didn't feel like it was that suit just as a reference. It felt more like a choice, and I think the choice was informed by, when he's dead, he comes back to life, he sees his monument on the ground. That's those are the colors the monument is in.
Exactly. No, that's true.
You know what I mean?
You see that big, like, waving Superman flag on the bridge.
Yeah.
And that's also the same colors. So, I do like that it's the black one because he is mourning. I feel like he did lose something. He lost the feeling of invincibility for sure.
Right. Dude, I love black and white as like Superman in these past couple movies, some could say he was drowning in the gray. Nobody knowing what was going on, you know what I mean? But now we're living in a little more. Yeah.
That's a great
point. So I like that. Okay, so now we're heading into our hype as fuck. our Steppenwolf fight, which like we got to go into the base, we got to take down the shield.
Yeah.
This. I don't even want to talk about how it's better than the last movie. Of course it is. This is like top tier superhero movie fight scenes.
No, it's great. I mean, I even like, Batman goes off. He's willing to sacrifice himself. When the League shows up to save him, yes, everybody's doing their part. But you know who saves his neck more than anybody else? The woman he touched hands with earlier in the film. Dog. Wonder Woman is putting in work.
Putting in big
saving
work.
This man's hide.
Yeah.
Back to back. And looking like a badass doing it too. Oh. Like she is cutting these parademons up. Cooking them.
It's so cool because I feel like in this movie, the degree to which like I think the Flash might even say it, they're like really working together.
Yeah.
And you totally like all the different like interactions, the way that like Wonder Woman saving Batman, and then later like Batman gets on one of those like little turrets and he's like covering for people. Like the whole way that they choreographed this fight sequence was, okay, somebody is doing one thing and then somebody else helps them out.
Yeah.
So
and you know why that's
cool.
good is because in the harbor scene, they say like, let's do it together. And then they immediately don't. And Flash is like, guys, this is not together.
Right. Yeah.
And then later on, it's like you said, he's like, all right, now we're a team.
And it felt like it. It wasn't just like a line somebody said that I was supposed to believe. The choreography of the fight made me kind of believe it. And especially when we are actually confronting Steppenwolf, that whole sequence was completely different. The way that Aquaman and Wonder Woman were doing stuff, the way that Cyborg was like really in it.
Yeah.
They're all like, oh my God, it's so cool. The way that like the Aquaman's able to like summon some waves and Wonder Woman's doing her thing. Like that shit was cool.
The bracelet. That was awesome. The fact that Steppenwolf is like, I killed all of your sisters and your mother. And he's like, I'm going to throw you off. And Diana's like, come on, bro. First of all, you're lying. Second of all, I could really smoke you right now. If you like, don't play with me. Nah, that joint is different.
Yeah.
I like that scene a lot. I like Superman showing up and getting called Master Kent by Alfred.
Very good.
That was cool.
And he barely reacts to it. He barely. Superman showing up for the Steppenwolf fight. That was a moment that I was not expecting. Dude, that axe coming down and him doing the classic Superman no flinch.
Yeah, that was dope.
So cool. Oh
not
my
impressed.
God.
And then he just destroys the axe.
Yeah. Immediately, right there, not at the end of the fight. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that whole scene is
Superman
awesome.
Destroying Steppenwolf. Because he's like, all right, you know what? I'm on the scene now. You kept talking about the Kryptonians. Time for you to meet one, buddy.
Right. Oh, dude, it's so good. And okay, so I guess like the big thing we're building to here is that, okay, so obviously I love how Superman comes in and completely like changes the fight. I think that is like extremely well done. But we've got the Flash running around in circles, storing up a charge, something that we know he did from earlier in the movie. And he needs to hit Cyborg with it at like the right time. Dude, Cyborg being like, I need a minute, and that all going down that way, that shocked me. What a great like climax in that fight, dude. And then they all died.
Yeah, even Superman. Again,
yeah, Superman.
They were all like vaporized. And that was set up perfectly because when they're reviving Superman the first time, the Flash is too slow.
Yeah.
Like, he's supposed to touch the box the moment it hits the water. And it hits the water and he's not there. But because he's going so fast, he's approaching the speed of light, so time reverses very slightly. And because it reverses very slightly, he touches the box. And that's the moment that sets up later that he can reverse time by surpassing his limits and going beyond what he's supposed to do. And that is also amazing.
Man, I forgot about that little moment, dude, with him, because I remember in the original movie them being very specific about like, oh, it has to be the second it hits the water. And then in this movie, it hits it. And I was like, oh, so is that not just that? And then that rewind, it was so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Flash like really gets a moment at the end of this movie where he really saves everyone. Completely turning back time. Completely like really, really in a crazy sequence, like a crazy CGI, like everything's coming back sequence saves everyone.
People's bodies are being reassembled.
Yeah, like
insane.
Yeah, in like a big way.
Now that's great because all he had to do before was push a truck of that Russian family out of danger.
Right.
And that Russian family could have just left the town a little bit earlier in the theatrical cut. They wouldn't have needed that.
Let me ask you something.
It's a lot more crucial.
In the theatrical cut, do the boxes fully come together? I didn't think they did.
No, they don't. No.
How weird. Because it happened so early in this fight that I was like, this is what we're dealing with. Okay, interesting.
Nah, it is weird.
So a couple of things we kind of glossed over. So Steppenwolf realizes that the anti-life equation is on Earth, which makes Earth way more valuable. So now Darkseid's like extremely interested.
Forget about those 50,000 worlds. Get me Earth and you're back in the fold, buddy.
We get Superman. Superman lasers off one of his horns.
Horns? That was dope.
just because he's not playing.
Yeah. When he did that, I was like, oh, Steppenwolf isn't making out of this. Huh?
No. Yeah, the whole feeling of the way that this fight ends is really different. And I think the way that it's different is so big in scale that it's really like we're building to something even bigger than this. And we're building to not only Darkseid, but we're building to this future that we keep talking about in this movie. This horrible future. And this Bruce brings up before the fight, he had this weird dream and Barry was right there and he was telling him something. And we're still thinking about
Lois Lane is the key.
Yeah, Lois Lane is the key. Yeah. We still don't really know why. I really enjoyed like if there's like some scenes I'm gonna go back and watch, I'm definitely gonna go back and watch that Flash scene, Superman getting his outfit, and I think just the entire like the fight sequence of
taking down Steppenwolf and stopping the mother boxes for sure.
I feel like Batman just jumping around, fighting people, shooting the guns. It was incredible.
Yeah, he really got a moment to shine in this. What was he doing other than just like kind of being like, hey, Flash, go here and do this. I think Superman, we need you to do that.
That was really it. So they pull apart Superman helps Cyborg pull apart the boxes after everything goes down. And there isn't like that little gag. Remember that stupid gag?
Yeah, where they both get thrown to the ground. They're like, oh, God, that hurt a lot. I wish I was dead again.
No, they just like get up immediately. And I'm like, wow, okay, cool. Oh, so weird.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, I don't have that much to say about this because I think, we just watched this once. My notes are
Yeah.
not super complete, but now my brain is thinking about the epilogue.
So what falls? Does everything after after they're all standing there on the top of like the nuclear station or whatever, is that the epilogue? So
Yeah.
it's the dream sequence and his discussion with Martian Manhunter, and also like all of them doing their crazy things, and we're not their crazy things, but like them living their lives. Arthur has to go meet his dad again. Wonder Woman's a hero again.
Yeah. It's a very like classically structured epilogue. It really is like, okay, here's what everybody is doing at the end of this, and then like a little tease for the future. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at first I was like, I thought it could have ended way earlier.
Yeah.
But then as I kept going, I was like, but this is interesting. This is cool. So why not?
Yeah, it's funny because the movie could have ended right where it says like epilogue, and it really is an epilogue. It's like
it's after the story.
right, yeah. So I gotta just because I'm hyped about it, I gotta ask you. So what did you think about that long scene between Batman and the Joker, just talking, dude, in the future, just talking?
Oh man. Disappointed, although you told me beforehand that he didn't say we live in a society.
Yes, disappointed.
Disappointed, but I love that they put it in the trailer, so I'll always have it anyway.
Right.
I thought it was dope.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. And there were points where I was watching it where I doubted, but then this man Batman started throwing out the F-bombs. He was like, no, I am gonna fucking kill you.
Yes.
And the Joker starts shaking. I was like, is he afraid? And he starts laughing. I was like, nah. You know what you're doing once again, Zach.
Yo, let me ask you a couple questions about this. Did you see the Joker movie?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. You know how he's got like a weird laugh? Like, and they talk about it. Was Jared Leto doing that laugh in this movie?
It was pretty similar.
Man, it was so similar. I thought that was so weird. I was like, no, who made this happen?
Is this Joaquin?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that this is what was filmed.
Yeah.
So I think there's a chance it was informed by that. So just off the dome.
That makes sense, though. That makes sense. I could definitely buy into that.
But this is like we're talking about a really long conversation between Batman and the Joker. This does not happen all the time in movies. When it does happen, it's a big deal. And this conversation was tense. And I think the thing I was really most took away from it was that I really liked the Joker.
I mean, the Joker, I've been saying it since I was like 9 years old, is the greatest supervillain of all time.
I like the way that he played him in this scene, too. I thought it was good.
I thought it was great. He's like, be careful what you say next. Adopted son.
Yeah, dude.
Very careful.
The card and being like, dude, I'm going to make you a deal. And I'm literally sitting there thinking about a movie that will probably never exist. And my mind is racing, being like, how's he going to get out of this deal? What is he actually thinking?
When's he going to rip the card?
Dude, that...
And then for Batman to say something so flagrant.
Yeah.
That the Joker was probably like, now I want to rip the card.
Yeah.
No, that was great.
No, really cool. And we've also got Mira, Cyborg, and Deathstroke in that scene. Just just getting you hyped about a future movie that'll never exist.
I mean, it might now. Apparently, I saw some rumors that people were so impressed with the Snyder Cut, they were like, "Now we might have to get you back, Zach, to direct some more stuff."
Now, can you realistically, Will, do you believe there's any chance?
I think he's going to be back to direct some things. I don't think we're going to continue along this story.
Well, okay, so there will not be a Justice League 2 that is specifically a successor to this Justice League.
Now, my gut is saying that there will be now, actually. Now, I think we're going to get that. I think we're going to get that.
Will, you're giving me my jollies. I want to take back my jolly update was that moment, you saying that.
I'm going to say 65% chance we get Justice League 2.
I was telling Sarah, I was like, I'm at like 90% confidence we'll get it, but it'll just be a comic. Like 50% we'll get it, and it'll be an animated movie. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, the animated movies are pretty dope, but I want it on. I need Henry back. I need Gal back.
Dude,
bring the squad together.
If any of even Ben Affleck the degree these actors that people don't like as these superheroes, now seeing this movie and being like, oh my god, they all got boned.
Yeah, like they just were just like their performances were eviscerated, and it wasn't their fault.
It was just completely out of their control.
Like even James Gordon in this movie is more likable. He's in there for 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're right, dude. I remember the moment. I remember when he has all those notes and he puts them in the trash. I'm like, great moment.
Yeah, great moment. What do you think about I feel vindicated by the fact that there was way more Lex in this movie than there was in the original. I was like, Lex has got to be in there, and I like his little escape at the end.
I actually wanted him in the movie more.
I thought he could have been in a little bit more.
It's Sarah said it, and I kind of agreed. When this 4-hour movie ended, she goes, "I wish there was more," and I was like, "Yeah, dude, yeah."
Honestly, I agree.
Oh man. So, Will, anything as we wrap up our discussion here of Zack Snyder's Justice League? Anything we didn't catch? Anything you want to say? Anything you got in the notes on the mind?
Gosh, I mean, it's improvements all around.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some actual characters. The Flash is really great. Wonder Woman, I think, was already the most beloved DC EU character. This is some of the best Wonder Woman moments I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
So if people probably already thought it was impossible for her to become more beloved, but I think if you watch the Snyder Cut, she will be. So there's that. And honestly, yeah, block out a couple of 2-hour blocks. You watch this movie because you're probably not going to watch it all at once like us psychos.
Right? Yeah, for real. Yeah.
And just enjoy it, honestly.
Well, if this movie were to be released in theaters, I would go.
Oh yeah, I mean, honestly, when I was watching my favorite scene, which is the scene where Superman gets his suit, I was like, don't ever let me get rich because I'll rent out a theater just to watch this movie on a big screen.
I would genuinely, there were a few points in this movie where I was like, okay, are we only getting this because of streaming? Probably. But at the same time, there were some scenes where, for the sound specifically, I was like, oh, I really wished I was in a theater. So,
True.
and I could see them doing it, actually. I could see them having like a limited release, which I would be so hyped to go to watch this movie again. It was funny. Yesterday on my other blog that I do, my daily updates,
Potty Break with Jay.
That's right.
Tune in, people.
I said to people, I was like, this is a 4-hour movie. Am I going to like sit down, watch it, and then watch it again within the month? Probably not. Like, you know what I mean? I enjoyed it. I take and now having seen it, I'm already thinking about when I'm going to watch the movie again.
Me too. Yeah. Because there's so much in there. It's like, I really have to, marinate it.
Well, what are we gonna? Oh, and if anybody I see we've got some people watching in the chat. We've got a handful of viewers. So if anybody wants to throw a question or anything like that, a comment, anything you want to say, please let us know and I'll address you. But Will, what are we gonna score this movie?
Well, I'm pretty sure I put out a bet that somebody could bet me $10 it was gonna be better than Justice League. No one took me up on that. Oh, well, it's definitely going to be above a 6, which is even higher than we gave Justice League. It's better than BVS, I think. So now we're in the 8 range. Mm-hmm. Is it better than Man of Steel or is it worse than Man of Steel?
Okay, here's what's going through my brain right now. I agree. I think it is a better movie than Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman is still my favorite. Just I love Superman. I want to have a whole movie with Superman. I don't want to just have a movie with Superman. Even though half of this movie is as long as a normal movie, that's that's fine. But so I think the scale, the intensity, the wonder of Justice League I think it puts it over Man of Steel for me. And that is like, I can't believe I'm saying that. Because again, I'm just a mark for Superman, but like as a movie, just like as a movie, and not just like what do I just get my jollies from watching this? Yeah. I really think, and well, tell me if you think I'm crazy. I think you can put this movie up against Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame, and it has something to say.
Oh yeah, no, you're correct.
Yeah.
I mean, As soon as I asked, because we gave Man of Steel a 9 out of 10. As soon as I asked that question, I was like, I think this movie's a 9.3. I do. Like a 9.3.
I think it has the edge. I agree. I think this is objectively a good movie, and I think I said this a little bit at the top of our show, but I think it's uncontroversial. I think this is like easy to see that this is a great movie.
Yeah. I would agree. There's very little to dislike.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, unless you are just one of those people who are like, I hate superheroes and I hate anything that's not set in the real world.
Right.
And if you're one of those people, well, then, more power to you. But, if you're going to dismiss the movie before you even watch it, you don't really get to have an opinion on it. So,
yeah. And I think what this movie does that is so great is it marries what I really like about like Batman v Superman specifically, which is like, honestly, like the cinematography I'm just obsessed with. I just love the way Zack Snyder films things. I think the movie's interesting to look at the entire time. It marries that with a plot that is just easy to be on the ride with.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty good. It is pretty tight.
And it's good. And yeah, I agree. And I think a big reason that it kind of goes above being good and I think is great is in that final confrontation, the moments all just build on top of each other. Superman saving Cyborg and then getting hit by that axe is such a moment. And then it's escalated even further and further and further until Barry has his moment where he has to literally save everyone from dying. Oh, wow. Such a good escalation.
So many times during this movie, I wanted to be like, run, Barry, run.
Yeah.
The Flash TV show.
Wait, really quick. Does the Flash look better running in this movie than he did in Justice League?
A little bit.
Why? Sure. What happened in that movie?
They took all of the worst takes.
They took all the worst takes. We've got a question in the chat. Did it live up to your expectations?
Who asked this?
This is Sarah. Sarah asked, did it live up to your expectations?
It surpassed mine. I'm not going to hold you.
It surpassed mine. My expectations were that it was going to be like BVS, and I was going to have to be like, everyone shut up, everyone shut up. but no, it's not like that. It's just good. So 9.3, you think 9.3?
I think 9.3 is a good rating.
I'm happy with 9.3. Wow. So we've done it. We have reviewed Zack Snyder's Justice League. Once again, I just want to say I'm so grateful it exists. I'm overjoyed for people like Ray Fisher, who you can tell this like meant a lot to.
Yeah.
And
he put in a lot of work on the performance.
Yeah.
I mean, even like Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
She lost elements of her performance in the theatrical cut too. And so this is, I'm sure she's probably, pretty happy with it. Jason Momoa got a lot more time. Ezra Miller.
I'm glad that there are things that stuck around. We didn't talk about this in our original Justice League review, but the Flash low key is like, I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
Love that. I'm literally like, whoa, icon. Okay.
Yeah. he's like, yeah, he's a cute Jewish boy, but he's not me.
Yeah. So good. Oh, wait. Is Lois pregnant? Because you saw it, right?
I don't know.
You saw that pregnancy. Wait, you saw that pregnancy test.
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, well. Wait.
Was that the very end and I just missed it?
No. So, Sarah, what is Lois Lane getting when we see the pregnancy test? Do you remember?
I'm so distracted by the pregnancy.
We were both so distracted by the pregnancy test that I don't even remember.
Is it when he first comes back and she's reaching in the box?
It might be in a box. It's no. I think it's in like her bedside table. There's like.
Oh, I definitely turned away from the screen at that moment and missed it.
Well,
I was like, this is one of my few times I can look away.
The movie is literally like pregnancy test.
Oh, snap. Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Dude.
Damn, now we have to get more of this universe.
Oh, and last thing here is I saw on Twitter this morning an interview came out where John Stewart Green Lantern. They filmed scenes where he was a Green Lantern in this movie, and WB was like, "Please, we're doing Green Lantern stuff. You can't use it."
Wow.
So even this movie, and the thing that really cheeses me off is that I don't know what it was. I don't know what those scenes were. I bet you they were great.
Yeah, no, they were probably dope because there's a lot of Lantern stuff in this movie, regardless.
So how confident are you, Will, that the studio has just been holding Snyder back?
Pretty confident.
Does this guy just need the time?
He needs a healthy budget. He needs a good amount of time, and he needs one person not affiliated with the studio who questions him every now and then.
Yeah.
That's what not at every turn. The studio questions him at every turn, and they're just holding him back. He needs some guy to be like, Zack, do we need to see Superman having the rocks float around him? The answer is yes.
Right.
But he just needs somebody to be like, who will question his great ideas just as frequently as they question his bad ideas. That way, they'll keep him honest.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Do we need it? No, yeah. just so Zack every day can go, yes, yeah.
Necessary.
Wow. So this has been quite a ride. The hype has been unimaginable. I'm glad that we did this. I'm really glad. I don't know if I would have done it otherwise. I'm really glad you and I watched Justice League before watching this movie.
Yeah, because I definitely would have done it. I'd just been like, all right, time to tune in.
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, I thought I liked Justice League, but this is a bit of a step up. But having rewatched it so close, that joint was trash. Now, the Snyder cut is amazing.
Now, Will, I said before, I called Justice League the most accessible of the kind of like Snyder superhero movies because it's hard to recommend to people like watch BVS. Like you kind of have to watch Man of Steel first, and even then, it's a hard sell. What I kind of feel okay about being like, oh, to anyone, like watch the Snyder cut.
Yeah, I mean, because the only thing about it is, if they have no idea about anything that happened before this, they'll be like, oh, Superman is dying, huh?
Yeah.
But you can just tell them, look, in the last movie, Superman died.
And they get it
in
the first scene.
Of this movie, they're going to show you how he died.
Yeah.
All that other stuff doesn't matter. They'll explain it.
Man. Okay, so this is definitely, because we put it above Man of Steel, and I really think that it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Okay.
It's a little bit more confident.
Yeah, it is. That's a good way of putting it. Okay. I guess that's going to do it for the Viewer Digression podcast.
We have no clue what we're watching for next week or what we're doing next.
That is hilarious. You're not lying.
But that's why we have social media accounts and phones, because we'll talk on the side and then we'll announce it.
I like our video thing. I kind of like doing this live. Maybe we'll make a habit of this.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah,
I have no issue with it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So, thanks for tuning in, folks.
Well, take us out, please.
Hey, so look, thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. If you have some questions that you didn't get to ask, hop in the DMs at a Viewer Digression Twitter or Instagram. And that'll do it for us. As always, I'm sending hugs to all my lightning bugs. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.